This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you drive long haul, short haul, or heavy haul, they're here to empower and inspire women in the trades on tncradio.live. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
You're listening to Women Road Warriors with host Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro, where we work to inspire and empower women in trucking, in the trades, and everywhere. I'm Shelley, and
I'm Kathy.
We have Tiara Allen with us today. The Sassy Trucker is a social media influencer and professional driver. She's a YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook sensation. Tiara's been driving for 4 years, and she takes people on her everyday travels and educates them on what professional driving is all about. Her mission is to educate new drivers about what they need to be successful. And she also has a mission to spread goodwill and happiness. She wants people to know what trucking's about and have people feel good about life. Welcome, Tiara. Thank you so much for being here with Kathy and me.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad we were able to connect finally after the little struggle that we had this morning.
Me too.
So, Kathy, did you have some questions for Tiara? You guys are both drivers, so I thought I'd let you take the lead on some of the first questions.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure, Tiara, if you know what kind of job I do. I'll just say it for the listeners to begin with. I was a nurse for 13 years, and I had a mental breakdown at the age of 42, and I ended up losing my career, was homeless and drunk and needed a career change. But how do you do that when you're 42? It's not that easy, right? I didn't want to just go be a cashier. I wanted a career. So I went to a career planning workshop, and I did aptitude tests, personality tests, and it came out to be a heavy equipment operator. I laughed so hard, I just about fell off my chair, because to me, that was the most ridiculous career ever. And I mean, come on. I mean, I was a woman. I don't even like equipment. I mean, I'm not mechanically inclined. And to me, in my mind, it was a man's job. So I gave the lady the test back, and she says to me, and I said, your test is wrong. And she said to me, if only you'd believe in yourself a little bit, Missy, you'd see the test is right. So I went to a career, this Women Building Futures. It's a nonprofit place here in Canada, and they get women into the trades. And I thought, maybe I'm not mechanically inclined, but I can drive a truck. And what they had there, the day I walked in, was ExxonMobil was there sponsoring women to take this 12-week heavy equipment course. And they said, you'll be driving a big truck. So I'm assuming in my mind that I'm driving a truck like you are, right? Just an 18-wheeler across the country. And I'm thinking, yeah, I can do that. No problem. And they said, oh, no. You're going to be driving a 2.5-story high, 3,800 square foot, a truck so big that it carries 400 tons of dirt on its back. And it weighs 1 million pounds of metal. I drive a house, basically. So when that whole thing was kind of difficult for me to actually, oh my God, when I'm standing beside this monster of a truck. I mean, there were so many things that I had to work through and change my mindset, like wrap my whole mind around this whole new career. So can you tell me how, when you started, well, number one, why did you start? Like, I had a reason because I had no other career, but what pushed you to become a truck driver? Not many women do that. So,
well, I pushed myself to become a truck driver. I was a nurse assistant for 3 years. So nurse assistants started taking a toll on me. And I knew I liked to travel the world. I didn't like to stay in one spot. So one day I was just sitting on my lunch break, and I was just telling my friends that I want to become a truck driver. And they all thought I was crazy. And they said, oh, really? You want to become a truck driver? I said, yeah, I do. They said, well, they make a lot of money. And then they were basically telling me I should go for it. So once I was finally old enough to start driving trucks, I finally start driving trucks, went to truck driving school, got into trucking. And next thing you know, I was a truck driver, and I like the fact that I can explore and travel the world and make money at the same time. And ever since then, I fell in love with driving trucks.
Isn't it empowering?
Yes, it is.
Which leads into the next question, is that, like, when I first started, I was really shaky with my self-esteem, I decision making, like, oh my God, and like, I don't know. and what would you tell people who are wanting to change careers? What has this done in terms of growth for your own self-confidence?
Well, once I started, I would tell people to go for it because trucking actually made me a stronger person. Dealing with a lot of men in this industry, I learned how to stand for myself and become a better person and being able to understand the world more.
Isn't it amazing how the shift, how one particular job, as you're going through it on a day-to-day basis, how it actually molds you into becoming a better person, a whole different version of that of yourself. Really, you already had it, or like I already had it. I just didn't know I have it. I had it. The job itself builds you up. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it
doesn't it
does.
though? Isn't it
It definitely
wicked?
does. Yes.
Oh man, like so there's some days when I go to work. I've been doing my job now for 8 years. I don't just drive truck. I operate other giant equipment. I work in a place where we have literally the biggest equipment in the world. So there's days when I'm feeling just having a rough day, mentally or whatever it is, that when I get behind the wheel of this monster of a truck and I think about how far I've come. I mean, coming from women's shelters and just like, from really bad past to this. And I think to myself, to all those that have told me that I was a worthless piece of crap, that I would never amount to nothing, that I was useless and stupid and fat and ugly and all this stuff, who is sitting here driving this truck?
You
You
are.
There you go.
just,
Yep.
That's
yeah.
true.
It just does something for me when I actually stop and look at how far I've come. So when you look back from when you were sitting as a nursing assistant, which I think is phenomenal that we both have the kind of the same background, right?
Right.
That's
Yes.
great.
I started as a nursing assistant too. So, and now we're both trucking. But when you look back and you think about when you're sitting there making that decision and you don't know what the outcome is going to be, you don't know what the future holds, you don't know if this is even a job you'll like. So when you think back of how far you've come, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel amazing because I feel if I didn't make this decision, I can still be sitting, working as a nurse assistant, not being able to explore and knowing that I can do it. So now I'm really, really happy that I made this choice because everything has changed for me. And I grew into a nice independent woman, and that made me very happy. And me being a social media influencer, I'm happy that I can influence others into the right direction.
Have you
Oh,
gotten people to drive? Have people reached
Yes.
out to you? That's
A lot
excellent.
of people have reached out to me and they say, hey, you encouraged me to get my CL license, men and women. So it makes me feel very, very happy that I see that.
oh,
Being
that's
an
awesome.
inspiration, so awesome. I mean, and Kathy is
Yes.
too. I mean, the two of you just inspire women, and that's what we need when you think about it,
Yes.
empowerment.
Yes, we do.
What I've noticed is that a lot of women anyway, because I mean over the years since I wrote my book, I work specifically with women in shelters and women in recovery, and I go to youth, I go to youth homes, I go to schools, and I try and create that mindset change. And the common denominator of everything is that there's a lot of low self-esteem. You know, women from various reasons don't believe in themselves. They don't think they're strong enough, or they don't have the right personality, or they don't, oh, I'm not smart enough, or I can't do that. That's a man's job. And what I'm trying to do is shift that mindset. And I was watching all your videos on YouTube and I see that you're doing the same thing. And I'm really glad that we're able to connect, because really the more, if we can do things together as a team, well, you're uplifting people more, right? You're
Yes.
reaching a greater scope of women, of people. Really, it's not just women, it's men too. um One thing, like was it a couple weeks ago, I went to speak at this place called Next Step Ministries, and it's women. It's this program that gets women off the streets and out of the sex industry, and gives, helps them through recovery, and build on their personal development, and just kind of get them grounded a little bit, and try to build a solid foundation to move on to the next phase of life, right? So I go in there once every few months and talk, and I was there, I don't know, I think in January. And I shared my story, and it's not just my personal story, but more of, of changing your mind, and how do you change vocations, and how do you do that. And one of the ladies, I spoke for about an hour and a half, and it was really awesome. And one of the ladies messaged me yesterday, and this is a girl that comes from the streets, and a working girl, and just rough life, and just tired, and trying to find herself again. Well, she messaged me last week, and she followed through with what I did here, the program Women Building Futures. She went there, and they paid for her to be a truck driver, and now she's driving rock trucks. Yeah, the little rock trucks, they're the construction ones. And she was so excited that she was able to do that, and completely get out of what she was doing, and now she's got a whole brand new start. To me, that is why I do what I do, just to see the transformation in other people. So that leads into this question: what do you get feedback from people that you've helped change lives? Do they respond? Do they contact you at all to say, hey, you helped me do this and this, and I'm doing this now?
Yes, a lot of people. I get a lot of feedback from people that tell me, hey, I used to be a police officer. I got into the trucking industry, and now I own my own truck. And I'm happy that you influenced me to take this route, because I didn't believe that I can do it. And at first they would tell me they didn't think that trucking was a woman's job, that was just a man's job. And they didn't really believe in themselves. And they said after watching my YouTube videos and following my social media, that really encouraged them to become a better person, and let them know that they can do this job as well. And I said, oh, I'm very happy and I'm proud of you.
Isn't that a great feeling, that you
It's
have
really
the
great
power
feeling.
and the
Yes.
influence to change people's mindset, and to pushing themselves to actually doing something because you're doing it?
Yes.
Awesome.
They're
That's
thinking
wonderful.
to themselves, that sassy trucker's a cool chick, man. I want to be just like her when I grow up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tiara, did you ever envision yourself doing all of this, being a social media influencer and inspiring people?
Well, I actually did envision myself doing it, but I didn't think that I can actually do it. I didn't know what route to take and how to go about it. But I understood that the route that you have to take was just doing this, which is being yourself, and everything else just falls into place.
Well, it's awesome because you've got an awful lot of people. Oh my gosh, there are people who watch you everywhere, and you're entertaining, and you really are inspiring. I think it's really cool, and it's what's needed out there.
Yes, that is true. Thank you.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Did you know that 80% of America's communities rely on trucking alone to deliver their goods? The trucking industry keeps America running thanks to the 3.6 million professional truck drivers traveling over 300 billion miles a year. Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward, or TMAF, tells the story of trucking and its positive impact on our economy, communities, and lives. Learn how you can be part of the industry movement working to build a strong image of trucking by visiting truckingmovesamerica.com. Kathy DeCaro is nothing short of amazing. She not only drives the world's biggest truck as a heavy equipment operator in northern Alberta, Canada. She's an international motivational speaker and the author of Dream Big, an autobiography about overcoming a lifetime of trauma and abuse that led to dreams of success. Kathy inspires people the world over to change their lives and improve their self-worth. Her book will change your life. She's passionate about personal growth and believes anyone can change their circumstances and overcome their obstacles if they believe in themselves. Her life will amaze you and seriously inspire you. Be sure to order a copy of her book, Dream Big, on Amazon.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy DeCaro.
So what motivates you? What's your passion, Tiara?
My passion, I actually want to get into acting. I always wanted to do that when I was a young woman. So I started making YouTube videos to kind of encourage myself to do it, and it helps bring out my personality, and it helps me work in front of the camera so that one day if I do pursue that dream, I already have the tools and motivation to know what I need to do.
Very cool.
I find a lot of people ask me this. Do you get what they want to know if I'm getting a lot of male, what do you call it? Oh, what's the word? Kind of like degrading comments from, men in the industry, because where I work, there's, let's see, on my crew alone, there's 100 men and there's only 12 women. And so all in all, I think we're like 1%. Like it's so small. And a lot of other industries, they say that, women get all the snide comments or sexual harassment comments, or just, stupid things. Oh, you're just a woman. You can't do this job. But where I
Little
work,
lady comments like that.
yeah, those, oh, let me get that for you, little lady, or whatever. In where I work, I'm lucky enough to, it's the company ExxonMobil will not allow any comments, no verbal, nothing. You will be fired if that happens. So I haven't had that. And the people they interview, like they'll interview 8 people for one job. So they kind of get rid of attitude and, eliminate people that shouldn't be there. And so I don't have that problem. Do you find in the trucking industry, like when you're stopping at truck stops and you're going all over, do you find you get that a lot from men? Do they bug you? Do they harass you? Do they do, snide comments when you're getting out of the truck or walking to it or whatever?
Yes, I actually get comments like that all the time, like especially at the truck stop. If I'm walking, guys will beep at me and, call me a lot lizard, because there's some women who do go to the truck stop and they're not actually truck drivers. So a lot of times the truck drivers don't assume that I'm a truck driver. They assume that I'm just working with my husband. I'm just in the passenger seat. And then they'd be like, oh, you drive a truck? I said, yeah, I drive a truck. They'd be like, oh, okay, well, I was expecting you to drive a truck because what you're wearing. And they kind of think that I'm supposed to dress a certain way to drive a truck. But the fact that I'm an OTR driver, I can wear anything that makes me feel comfortable when driving. And a lot of the times when there was a situation one time when I wanted to work as a flatbed truck driver, I applied for the position, and the owner, when I sent him my driver's license, he told me that I'm a female. He doesn't think that I can do this job, so he wasn't going to hire me.
Ugh.
So I do with stuff like that sometimes. So when he didn't hire me, I didn't give up. I went to another place that did take me, and they showed me how to work as a flatbed truck driver. And they accepted me, and they told me I was doing very amazing, and they liked my work ethic, and I just grew from there. And ever since then, I kind of know how to handle the men now in this industry, and I don't let them get to me. But that does happen to me all the time.
It's interesting how sexism is still prevalent in the industry, in driving, because statistically, women are safer drivers.
Yes,
that's
true.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And actually better drivers.
Yeah.
We're way better drivers.
We're conscientious, right?
Yeah. And do we have, it's because women have more common sense?
Yes.
I'll go with that.
So you wouldn't think that that's still out there, but there's this perspective or this mindset. Oh, she's a woman. She can't do that. And that's frustrating. Did that frustrate you at all, Tiara? Or did you just kind of say, how did you get around that? I mean, were there times when you kind of had some self-doubt or it made you angry?
Yeah, there was times where I did feel that way. So the only thing I would do about it is I just prove them differently that I can do it. So when I had made my YouTube channel, everything that people told me that I couldn't do, I would go on YouTube and I'll make a video showing myself that I'm doing it. So when people see that, they're like, wow, this girl is amazing. And then a lot of people, they tell me, hey, I want to hire this lady. I think she would be a good worker for my company and a good representation for other women that can come and work for me as well.
Well, that's really good.
Yes.
What do you like? I know, like for us women in where I drive, we don't have I work in an open pit mine, so there's only a certain amount of washrooms. There's only a certain amount of places you can stop. It's not like because like the trucks that we drive when they're timed. It's a timing thing because it's a business, right? So you go from the shovel to the crusher, and you don't have when you do stop. Sometimes if you stop too often, you might get called into the office and wondering why you're stopping. Do you find that the companies you work for, do they give you a hard time with your routes and what you're doing? Like, do you know what I mean? Like if you got to stop for
Yes.
feminine reasons, for, bathroom breaks, for whatever, do you get ribbed about it? Do you get bugged about it, or?
Yes. When I worked for the bigger companies, the major companies, when I first started trekking, the first 2 years of driving, the bigger companies, they're more on your back more. They're like always watching your every move because there's GPSs on the truck. So once I started learning and getting more experience, I went to the smaller family-owned companies. And the family-owned companies, they're more lenient. So that way I was able to stop and exercise sometimes
Yeah.
and stop anywhere I want to stop and take showers. So I felt like I was my own boss in a way because I kind of make my own work schedule and they were more understanding. And I didn't have to follow anybody's rules and regulations as long as I got the
Yeah.
load there on time and delivered.
Yeah. How many hours a day do you sit in that truck?
11 hours a day.
Oh,
And
so
then I
you're like
sleep for 10
me.
hours. Yes.
You
Just
sleep
like
for
you.
10 hours?
Well, I try to sleep for at least 7 hours, but the other 3 hours, I use that time to probably wash up and, for my personal life.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, well, you're lucky. I work, like I just got off a 19-day stretch of 13-hour days, and I'm sleeping about 5-6 hour days. And I'm home for 5 and I'm flying back to work. So I'll be gone 21 days, but I'm working night shift, 13-hour nights. So
how do you do it?
I was going to ask you the same. How do you do it? Well, yeah. The bottom line is the first week I'm working is overtime, so it's double time. So that's how I'm doing it. That's my motivation.
Nice.
At the end of the day, it's about the money you're bringing home, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't love my job, and I wouldn't be working if I didn't have such a great company. Are you allowed to bring people, women or friends and family with you on road trips, or what? How does that work?
Yes, you're allowed to do that as long as you sign the company's waiver forms. You can do that. I brought my mom on a trip with me one time. We took a trip to Disneyland, actually.
Oh, how
my
cool.
mom and my little sister. So they came with me, and then I also took my younger brother one time on a truck. And then I took a friend of mine who was interested in the industry, and he actually just got his license last year. So he thanked me for that.
That's great.
People, even though you try to explain to them, and even though you're showing videos and stuff, it's nothing like actually being in the truck with you, right? We're not allowed electronics. I'm not allowed. If I get caught with my phone, I'm fired, right? So I can't show people. The only thing I can do is go tell them, well, maybe go to Imperial Oil website and you can see, there's a safety video. That's about it.
Right.
Sure.
So it's nice to have that you're able to give your family and loved ones the actual experience of what you do on a daily basis.
That's true.
I bet your mom's really proud of you.
Yeah, she's actually proud of me now. Before, she didn't like the fact that I became a truck driver. She wanted me to go to college and pursue my career as a nurse and continue my nursing career, but I told her that's not what I want to do. I like to travel. I want to get into trucking. And once she understood how it works, she was actually happy for me because she seen that I was influencing others to get in this industry.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what area of the country do you like best in terms of driving?
Well, I like the East Coast the best because I like going to Florida a lot and the beaches are really nice there. And I also like going to the West Coast because I like going to Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is very truck friendly. There's a lot of places where you can park your truck and out and explore.
Yeah, I watched one of your videos. You were in a casino. That was great.
Yes.
Do you do a lot? Do you go like here in Western Canada? We're surrounded by the Rocky Mountains, and so I know the truckers. Like just driving from here to Vancouver is a 12-hour drive, and the roads are like, some of them are, oh my God, they're brutal. And we have a lot of snow and a lot of trucks hit the ditch. And well, there's that TV show on Discovery, Highway Through Hell, that's filmed here in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Wow, so, that's nice.
Yeah, on those roads. Do you go through that a lot, like through Colorado, or?
Yes, I go to Colorado a lot. I don't like going to Colorado, especially in the wintertime because it's always snowing. The freeway gets shut down and it's really bad. And I also, when I first started the trucking, my first 2 years, my truck actually caught on fire because the brakes got really hot and I had to pull over, and next thing you know, my truck was into flames.
When that happened to you, what did you do?
It made me want to not drive trucks anymore because it was really scary and I was by myself, and the experience that I had, it just made me want to give up. But then after I've done that, I took a break from trucking for about 3 months, and I felt way better. Then they taught me not to give up. And ever since then, it just helped me become more independent and being able to do things for myself if I was to get in that situation again.
So how do you talk yourself into being dealing with a situation like that? I mean, that would freak anybody out. And
Yes.
how do you tell yourself, hey, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. What do you recommend to someone who encounters some of the obstacles? I mean, let's face it, any particular job has its risks and so forth. What do you recommend? Because obviously that's terrifying to have something catch on fire. Wow.
I recommend people, if you're not ready for the highway, don't do it. And if they get into a situation like that, it's good to pull over as soon as you can, whenever you can, because you can save your life and other people's lives as well. So when I do get into a situation like that, I kind of tell them to take a deep breath. If they have to, don't drive for 2 to 3 months. Just take a step back and just think to see if trucking is really for you, because trucking isn't for everybody.
Did you learn
No.
something about yourself after you took a step back and you said, hey, I can do this?
Yes, I learned to never give up, even in the hardest, toughest times, because during that time, it was really tough, super tough, because I lost everything and I had to start from scratch.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So what would you say would be your biggest obstacle in trucking?
My biggest obstacle in trucking,
Yeah.
staying away home from family, because I stay out on the road for like 2 months at a time. And then I only go home for, let's say, a week or 3 days out of the month.
Wow, that's way worse than mine. Like I work 2 weeks and I'm home 2 weeks. So at least,
Wow,
well,
you're
except for,
lucky.
yeah. Well, they fly us to work. I worked really in northern Canada and I live in a camp for 2 weeks and I have I have 2 lives, 2 separate lives.
Wow.
But when I'm on days off, it allows me, my job allows me the finances and the time to travel, to go do what I do for my book and for women. Like everywhere I go, I make a point of stopping in at the shelters and finding a school and, maybe setting up a community event and trying to do some charity. But I have the time to do that. You sound like you don't have much time for anything.
No, I don't. I miss out on family holidays, vacations sometimes, family events.
Yeah.
I miss out on a lot of things, but it's a sacrifice that I make to better my future.
That's right. Oh, speaking of future, where do you see yourself like in 5 years? Or do you want to truck forever? Or do you want to evolve to something else?
Well, definitely in 5 years, I see myself owning a big trucking company and opening up trucking schools for other individuals like myself. And I also see myself into acting. I think I'm going to get into acting pretty soon.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Nice.
So have you been looking for an agent or anything like that? Because as a social media influencer, I imagine you could get out there and contact people and they might say, hey, let's do it.
Well, they actually find me. So it's a lot
There you
easier
go.
that way
Right.
for me.
I love that. Yeah.
It's always nice when people are knocking on your door,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Gets my foot in the door.
No kidding. Do you think that like in schools, I know they don't offer everyone, like you said a while ago, how your mother wanted you to go to college and do this and that, like the typical way. And most families do. Do you think that it would be a good idea when you say that you open your schools is to kind of give like free like job shadowing to youth to say, hey, this is an option too. Like, why don't you hop in a truck for a day and see what the trucker does? And you know what I mean?
Yes, I think it's definitely an option because I don't think that school is for everyone. Sometimes people can do different trades, but they don't really necessarily have to go to school for 2 to 4
Yeah.
years. And trekking is good because it's like a 2-week program. At the most, you'll be in trekking as a month, and it's a good start. And also, when you're in a truck, it gives you time to think about the things that you really want to do in life. So you don't
Yeah.
have to stay in trekking forever.
And that's the thing I find, they don't offer enough job shadowing because you really need to know, you need to be in the truck and you need to see a day in the life of a trucker to
Mhm.
understand what it's really about, what it all entails. Right. Like I would love to have a camera. Well, actually we did at work. We did a day in the life of the operator at my work, 5 years ago, but I'm not allowed to release it to anybody. So what's the point of that?
No.
because it's a company owned video. And so I can't show anybody that this is what I do. This is how I back into a shovel. This is, this is the crusher. This is, and it's kind of, I find it stops people from even knowing about what I do, because like when I went down to LA, was it last year before COVID? I went for a book signing down in Malibu, and I figured, well, how do people know? How am I going to show them? So I made a 6-foot high poster, 3 foot wide, and all you see is this giant mining truck, and you see me, like the tires are 14 feet high. I'm like 5'6", right? So all you see on the cover is here I'm standing there. Well, people, they're so shocked about seeing a truck this big. It's because it's not on TV. It's not on reality show. It's because it's not promoted. Nobody knows that they even exist. So I would love to be able to show people, to say, hey, come in for a ride. Come in, check it out. You might actually like this as a career. So the fact that you can bring people and maybe inspire youth to come give it a shot, I think that's phenomenal. I really do.
Yep.
Wow. It is.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're so blessed, and you have so many opportunities and doors and windows that are coming to you. And just because you made the decision that, no, I'm not going to stay a nursing attendant. I'm going to try something different and scary. And I'm going to find the courage to actually do it, no matter what people say that, no, it's not a good career for you. I hope you recognize that in yourself, the courage that you have and the strength, the powerhouse of a woman. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
You rock.
Yes,
Thank you.
do.
You rock too.
And you're just beginning. This is so very cool. And you've got so many opportunities out there, and people are watching you. And this is what women need. And you're overcoming these stereotypes like, oh, gee, she's a woman, she can't do this, which still amazes me. We're in the 21st century, and those things are still being said,
Yeah.
Right. That is true.
And women and girls growing up are believing this. It's like, I can't do that. That's a guy's job.
That's true.
Well, I mean, look at me when I was 42 thinking, my God, like that's a man's job. No, it's not. And now I make sure everywhere I go, I'm like, anybody could do this. You believe you can do it, you got it. You want to do it, you can do it. Don't listen to other people, right?
Never give up.
That's right. That's right.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
So, Tiara, did you always have the attitude of, I can do this? Or is this something that just kind of evolved? Have you always been a real confident person? Or has maybe your job made you more confident?
I always had the attitude, but as time went by, my attitude became stronger and I became more confident evolving with my job. So that kind of encouraged me to be a stronger person and be more confident in myself, because there's a lot of things that I thought I couldn't do when I got into this industry. When my truck caught on fire, when I get put into bad situations, for example, let's say if I get a flat tire and I'm out there sitting for someone to come and help. And at times I feel like, oh, I can't do this anymore because this is so stressful. But everything that I go through, it just encouraged me not to give up and to do better. And then I made a YouTube channel, and that also helped me to become a better person, because I was able to show other people how life really is on the road and what I go through and how to become a better person.
Sure. So there may be some pushback from some ladies out there that say, gee, it's not safe for women. What do you say to them? How do you stay safe on the road?
How I stay safe on the road? I think driving at night is safer, because in the daytime, a lot of people are out at the truck stops, like men. But at nighttime, you have the road to yourself, and there's not many people out there on the road. And a lot of times when I go to sleep on the truck, there's like the seatbelt technique that they tell women to use, where you wrap your seatbelt around the door. And also my truck is equipped with cameras. in a panic mode. So if anything happens to me, my company can see everything that's going on with my truck, and that can help a woman be safe as well and protect it.
Sorry, back up a minute. What's the seatbelt thing you're talking about? I never heard of that.
The seatbelt method is when you take the seatbelt of the driver's side and passenger side and you tie it around a door, and it can stop people from trying to get in your truck. Because there's trucks that are equipped with keys. Like, for example, my truck might have the same key as another truck. And some people that know this, they're able to like get into your truck, but depending on how your truck is made, they can't do that. The more high tech the truck is, they can't do that. So I use the seatbelt method sometimes just in case, because I don't want to go through anything crazy like that.
You know what? I'm going to be using that if ever I have to sleep on the road in my car or whatever. Like, that's a genius idea.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because you have to be mindful. Obviously, drivers that go in areas that are not always the safest, and certain times of the day and so forth. So that can put off maybe some ladies who'd say, gee, I don't know how I could handle that. And I think that women, maybe more than men, put up more obstacles in front of themselves to say, I can't, only because of maybe some of the conditioning we've had.
Yeah. Do you find there's a lot more women nowadays that are getting into the trade?
Yes, there's a lot of women now getting to the trade, because when I first started trucking school, I was the only female in class, and that discouraged me itself. So as time went by, I see more and more women drivers out there, but I don't see many drivers on the road, but I see a lot of them on social media.
Do you think when you have kids and, is that going to change your avenue of work? Or are you going to just modify it to suit your family needs?
When I have kids, I want to actually, by then, I hope to have my own trucking company so that I'll be a stay-at-home mother and stay time with my kids. Yeah.
Because that's got to be hard. I know there's ladies out there who work. I mean, even at my own work, we have one mom, she has 3 kids at home. And I mean, you got to come to work, you got to, pay the bills, but yet the kids are at home, with either, family or whatever. It's very difficult on the mother, So I know there's truckers out there that do the long haul truckers like you do.
Yes.
They do have families. It's very hard.
Yes, it can be very hard. My friend, she has a daughter and she takes her on the road with her. So,
there you go.
And she does homeschooling with her on the truck. So that's also an option too, if they're a long haul trucker.
Yeah. How does she do the homeschooling? Basically with a laptop or something like that?
Yes, with a laptop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Homeschooling is becoming more and more popular. And in many ways, I think that they're finding a lot of the students that do homeschool seem to learn more. I mean, maybe it's because they're interacting with their parents and that sort of thing. I don't know. But what an experience it would be for the child to be on the road with mom. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, Tiara, growing up, was your mother an inspiration or a role model for you?
Yes, my mom and my grandmother were actually my role models, because my mom, she was a single mother growing up. So I seen all the obstacles that she faced as a single mother, but she was still able to take care of me and my brothers and sisters because she ended up going to college and graduating. And that kind of inspired me to be a better woman after seeing her do this by herself, and encouraged me to be very strong and independent. And a lot of my traits I get from my grandmother and my mother, because they were very strong women.
That makes a difference. Absolutely. And now you're inspiring your siblings.
Yes. My siblings and other people.
What have your siblings told you? Gee, I want to be just like you, or the typical sibling, gee, I could do that better.
Yeah, my siblings, they're actually fascinated by it. They think it's very cool seeing me do it. And they like to tell their friends, oh, my sister's a truck driver. And then they're like, they don't believe it. So they can pull up videos and show them like, yeah, this is my sister. She drives trucks. And I think it's really cool.
So when you're on the road, what brings you most joy?
Bringing me most joy on the road is actually looking out the window, seeing the nice views, and being able to get out of my truck and explore the city on my downtime.
Do you find it hard to find time for yourself? Or do you have to push yourself? And I'm talking exercise wise, because I mean, I sit, if you think about it, like I'm going on 21 nights and I sit in that grader or whatever piece of equipment I'm in for 12 and a half hours. When we're trucking, you're allowed to get off your truck twice. So that's a long time. So I have to push myself at the end of the day, no matter how tired I am, to go and do yoga or go for a run or do something. Because otherwise, weight gain in a woman my age, it's like immediate, right?
Yes.
So do you find it hard to motivate yourself to get moving for a bit, go for a stretch or a walk or something?
Yes, I found that very hard. When I first started driving, I started gaining weight. I gained 50 pounds on the road. So I told myself I
Mm,
can't do this. So once I
yeah.
got the hang of everything, I was able to find ways to exercise. Sometimes
Mhm.
on my break, I'll go to Planet Fitness and work out for at least 30 minutes if I can on my lunch break. And a lot of times for me to save time, I cook on my truck and eat healthier instead of me buying food
Mhm.
and spending all that money on food, on fast food. I save money by cooking on my truck, getting out of my truck and exercising. And I find ways on my truck to use that as exercise equipment. And I have videos on YouTube showing people how they can exercise on the truck
Mhm.
without going to the gym.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
that's the hardest part is motivating ourselves. I know, because the one thing that, like, after I come home or to camp to my room, I'm tired, it's hot and dusty, or I maybe it's really cold because I'm in northern Canada, but I have to push myself to get up at 3:30 in the morning and hit the gym, even if it's 40 minutes, and do something before work, or sometimes it's after work, depending on the schedule that I'm on. But if I don't do it, I'd much rather stay in bed and sleep, right? But is that helping me mentally? Oh, that's another question. Mental health wise, by pushing myself, that helps me with my mental health. How does your mental health play a role in your job?
Well, I think exercising plays a good role because whenever I finish driving, I like to exercise after I finish driving because it helps me sleep better. And when I get up for a
Mhm.
nice drive, it helps my mental health and helps me stay focused when I'm on the road.
Do you ever slip into depression sometimes, into like brooding, moody thoughts of, kind of reminiscing or something? Does it ever happen to you while you're driving?
It doesn't really happen to me often because while I'm driving, I try not to think negative thoughts. I try not to be a negative person. I always try to stay positive because I know
Yeah.
when I slip into those ways, it'll have me down and out and I won't be able to stay focused and drive and not
Mhm.
being able to, work through the day.
Mindset matters, does it not?
Yes, it
Yep.
does very much. It plays a factor.
How do you deal with loneliness? Because you're by yourself a lot, obviously. Or do you kind of like maybe the alone time?
I actually started liking being alone because I was able to grow from it. So
Mm.
I kind of got used to being alone as I was on the road because without that, I feel even if I had somebody and I didn't know how to be alone, I would feel I would always need someone. So being alone actually helped me become a better person because I learned not to depend on other people.
I
And you,
don't know about you, but I use my truck as my office, believe it or not. And the passenger seat, I have I got all my uh, books and pens, and if I have a night, because I have 8 hamsters and one wheel in this noggin, and so if something happens, I need to write it down immediately, right? So, but I use it to create. I use that time in the truck every day to think about what I want to do, because I mean, I don't believe that my end result of who Kathy Takaro is just to be a truck driver, right? So I'm using that time to create, to plan, to think, to figure out, well, what can I do better, or how can I do this? Or I listen to podcasts, or I listen
Oh,
to
me too.
motivation things. So do you do the same?
Yes, I listen to a lot of podcasts, videos. I listen to music. Sometimes I read articles online to better myself. But podcasts
Yeah.
do help me get through those long hours of driving.
Because I mean, really, at the end of the day, it is long. You are driving for 12 and a half hours, or in your case, 11 hours. It's a long time.
yep.
Do you, do
Yes.
you, do you actually do things to help yourself refocus sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, a lot of the times when I am on the road, sometimes I talk to my friends on the phone and we just motivate each other to stay focused as well. And it helps getting through those long hours because next thing you know, the hours fly by really quick. So it does help out a lot.
Mm. Oh, here's another good one. We have on our trucks a DSS system. And what that is, it's these little cameras that are specifically put in specific spots. So they monitor your eyes. And if we fall, because we work night shifts all the time, so you know that witching hour between 3 and 4 is when most truck drivers are really tired. So if your eyes close for over 3 seconds, the seat vibrates. It's like an electric chair. It vibrates, and this alarm right in your right ear, it just goes beep, and it shakes you awake. And oh my gosh, let me tell you, you're awake right quick. But what that does, it sends, there's a company down, I think it's down in Texas, that is responsible for this. So they have something like 750 of these little monitors from truckers all over the world, or all over the US and Canada, I should say. And so when my eyes close, say I'm driving and my eyes close and the seat vibrates, well, that sends an alarm down to Houston, and Houston has a video of my eyes closed. So Houston calls the mine where I work, calls the dispatcher and says, operator of 2107 had a fatigue event. You need to talk to her. So my dispatcher will call me and say, hey, Kathy, are you tired? Do you need to pull over? Do you need to get a break? So now what they do is when you have an event, a fatigue event, they actually pull you off your truck and you have to talk to a supervisor to figure out, do you need to, you know, what is it that you need and why are you so tired? Are you not sleeping? What can we do to help you? Is there any of the trucks that you've been on that have this system at all?
No, not at all. That's really cool. No,
Actually,
not at
it
all.
is. It is. And a lot of people were worried, oh, you're invading my privacy, that you're actually watching what I'm doing in the truck. And it's not, because I've seen these videos over and over again. And it's an actual just the eyes stop, like it's a snapshot. And the reason we went into it is they did like a test thing over like a couple months. So there's a few truckers that just volunteered to be, you know, the guinea pigs. And we actually saw the video of one operator who was on a straight stretch with a loaded truck. You think about this, 400 tons doing 50 miles an hour. And the operator's eyes, you can see them close and then try and blink away. You know, when you're those micro sleeps that you're trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
And then his eyes were closed for 17 seconds. How that operator didn't crash is beyond me.
Wow.
Because you could see the timer and you can see the eyes, and oh my gosh. So even if you're thinking you're okay driving, you don't know what the oncoming driver is, you know, maybe he hasn't slept all night. So these little, this DSS system, I believe, saves lives. It really does. And it might be something you might want to mention to the owner of your company, because it really, it's a good thing. It's a safety device, you know.
Wow. That's amazing.
Now, when this driver was actually observed driving with his eyes closed for 17 seconds, was he even aware that that had happened? No, that's the thing. He didn't know. He didn't realize it. Wow. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you a quick story about this. It's funny. So here I am. I've been driving the truck for 2 years, and I never heard about. I knew they had the DSS system in, but you think, oh, does it really work? Does it work? It never went off for me, so I didn't know. Well, one day I was having a bit of a cookie addiction. I was eating like 4 cookies a day. And so I'm trying to fight my way to stop eating the cookies because they were so good. They're homemade cookies. And so I was at the end of the day, and I was on this really long stretch at work, and the only thing I had left was 1 cookie in my bag. And I'm like, Kathy, you've got willpower, step away from the cookie. You're not going to eat the cookie, right? You can do this. And so as I'm starting to talk to myself through, all of a sudden I look down and the cookie just went from my bag to my lap. I'm like, oh, how did you get there? So I'm looking down at the cookie, and I'm starting to talk to myself saying, Kathy, you don't need the cookie. I mean, come on, you got some willpower. Stop it. Put the cookie away. But then the other part of me is like, hey, Kathy, you know those cookies are good. Eat the cookie. You want the cookie. And then it's like, no, step away. So I got this battle going on about, you know, step away from the cookie, and then, no, eat the cookie. Well, little did I know, my eyes were looking down at the cookie and not on the road. The stupid DSS alarm system goes off. Well, it scared the living daylights out of me. The buzzer went off, the seat vibrated, and I yelled. I went, ah! The cookie flying across off the truck. It hit the window and down into the far part of the passenger seat where I can't reach the cookie. So here I get a call from dispatch because they had never had an event, a fatigue event. So they're wondering. He said, hey, Kath, are you like, what's up? Are you tired? Are you okay? You know, do you need to pull over?
And he says, I'm concerned about you. Well, here I am. I had to explain to him my argument with a cookie. And I'm like, no.
Wow.
So here it was kind of funny because he didn't know what to make of it. He's at the other end of the line going, did you say you were arguing with a cookie?
It's funny.
I'm like, just never mind. I'm fine. I don't need a coffee break. So point of the story, I didn't eat the cookie. I ended up stopping for fuel and I gave the fuel attendant the cookie. I'm like, here, eat the darn. Want it now.
Oh,
But I mean, it'd be a good diet control, let me tell you.
right.
Yeah.
Oh man, oh yeah, priceless.
So Tiara, what do you do to stay awake on the road? Because I imagine you have some times when it's like, oh man, I got another hour I gotta drive and I'm kind of dragging today.
Well, sometimes I take an energy drink, a 5-hour energy drink, but I
Mhm.
try to stay away from those because those are not healthy. But if I
Right.
feel too tired, I just pull over because I know the load is not worth my life. I'll just pull over, I'll go to sleep, and I'll notify my dispatchers that, hey, I'm pulling over, I'm tired, I need some rest. And I say, okay, well, just let us know it's okay. And then that's how I kind of stay up. And then if I sleep enough, take a 30-minute nap, I'll get back on the road if I can. But if not, I'm still gonna go to sleep.
Yeah. Those micro breaks actually help me too on night shifts. On our breaks, we get 2 half-hour breaks. A lot of people will go out, get off the truck, go to the lunch shack. For me personally, because we're all different, I need to pull over and I'll just sleep for 20 minutes and I'll use my 10 minutes to go to the bathroom and, eat a quick bite. But those 20 minutes that I shut my eyes, it's as if I'm completely rejuvenated. It's like it shakes the cobwebs out of
Yes.
my head and I can drive again. So yeah.
Yes.
Do you need more than 30 minutes, or like when you pull over, do you sleep for a couple hours, or do you just take what you think you need and then try again?
Well, I'll try to sleep, for example, an hour, because
Okay.
a lot of my load sometimes, if I have time to get my load there earlier, I can use that time to get some rest if I feel like I
Oh yeah.
need the rest.
So are you always going back to back, like straight one load to the next and one load to the next nonstop all day?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes, sometimes I might have a load that's, let's say, 2 days long. So I'll drive my 11 hours, stop, pull over, deliver that load, then get the next load. That load might be a day long or only 10 hours long. So yeah, right back to back, I would say.
Wow. Wow. Quite the life. I'm gonna come for a ride with you one day. I go to the States all the time.
There
Nice.
you
That'd
go.
be nice.
It would
Yeah,
be. Between the two of us, we're gonna have a blast.
There you go.
right. Yes, definitely.
Tiara, do you have any messages you have for women, or even men for that matter, who are considering a career in driving? Because you've certainly learned a lot in the past 4 years and you've got a great perspective here.
I would tell men and women, if they love to travel, then trekking is the right industry because you can get paid to travel and work at the same time. But if you don't like driving, I wouldn't consider it because it could be a hazardous to other people on the road and to yourself. So don't do it. But also, if they don't like to drive long distance, there's options out there for trekking. For example, they can drive local if they want to drive local and stay home and be home every night, or they can drive a dedicated route where they're not out on the road. They're like
Mm,
kind of close to family, but you're still out on the road for, let's say, about 5 days at a time and then back home. So there's some other options that people can take.
nice. It's nice to have options. This
And
has been wonderful.
I've really enjoyed speaking with you, Tiara. You're an inspiration. I love that.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at info@tncradio.live.
Thank you for listening to another great interview on tncradio.live. All of the material you hear on tncradio.live on our website, our broadcasts, or our podcasts are copyrighted. There can be no distribution without the express consent of tncradio.live and its partners. For inquiries, write us at info@tncradio.live.